You came together to pass once-in-a-generation infrastructure law, building bridges connecting our nation and our people. We came together to pass the most significant law ever, helping victims exposed to toxic burn pits. And in fact, it was important. And in fact, I signed over 300 bipartisan pieces of legislation since becoming president, from reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act, the Electoral Count Reform Act, the Respect for Marriage Act that protects the right to marry the person you love, and to my Republican friends, if we could work together the last Congress, there's no reason we can't work together and find consensus on important things in this Congress as well. I think folks, you all are as formed as I am, but I think the people sent us a clear message. Fighting for the sake of fighting, power for the sake of power, conflict for the sake of conflict gets us nowhere. That's always been my vision of our country, and I know it's many of yours. To restore the soul of this nation, to rebuild the backbone of America, America's middle class, and to unite the country. We've been sent here to finish the job, in my view. For decades, the middle class has been hollowed out in more than, and not one administration, but for a long time. Too many good-paying manufacturing jobs move overseas. Factories
because you guys made backroom deals.
Once thriving cities and towns that many of you represent became shadows of what they used to be. Along the way, something else we lost. Pride, our sense of self-worth.
Are you kidding me?
I ran for president to fundamentally change things.
Yeah, and you did.
Our economy works for everyone.
Nope.
So we can all feel that pride.
Wrong.
To build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. Because when the middle class does well, the poor have a ladder up, and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. I know a lot of you always kid me for always quoting my dad, but my dad used to say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. He really would say this.
Does anybody really believe his father ever said that?
It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, folks, so let's look at the results. We're not finished yet by any stretch of the imagination, but unemployment rate is at 3.4%, a 50-year low. A near record.
Because we came out of COVID.
Record unemployment.
He put how many people out of work because they wouldn't get the jab?
Black and Hispanic workers. We've already created, your help, 800,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs, the fastest growth in 40 years.
And how much you want to bet the misinformation, fake news media isn't going to fact-check any of this?
Where is it written that America can't lead the world in manufacturing? I don't know where that's written.
It was written on your desk, asshole, because that's what you guys did. You guys sold everything to China.
All done, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Folks, Inflation has been a global problem because the pandemic disrupted our supply chains, and Putin's unfair and brutal war in Ukraine disrupted energy supplies as well as food supplies.
Wrong.
Blocking all that grain in Ukraine. But we're better positioned than any country on earth right now. But we have more to do. But here at home, inflation is coming down.
No, it isn't.
Gas prices are down $1.50 from their peak.
They're still up $1.50 from when Trump was in office.
Inflation has fallen every month for the last 6
No,
months.
it isn't. You're a liar.
Home pay has gone up. Additionally, over the last 2 years, a record 10 million Americans applied to start new businesses. 10 million. And by the way,
probably because they lost their jobs.
Every time someone starts a small business is an act of hope. And Madam Vice President, I want to thank you for leading that effort to ensure that small businesses have access to capital and the historic laws we enacted that are going to just come into being. Standing here last year, I shared with you a story of American genius and possibilities.
Yeah, right.
Semiconductors, small computer chips the size of a fingerprint that power everything from cell phones to
Those are made in Taiwan. You going to help them?
These chips were invented
Against the
in America.
Chi-Coms?
Let's get that straight. They were invented in America. We used to make 40% of the world's chips. In the last several decades,
And then we sold it all out to China.
We're down to only producing 10%. We all saw what happened during the pandemic when chip factories shut down overseas. Today's automobiles need 3,000 chips, each of those automobiles. But American automobiles couldn't make enough cars because there weren't enough chips. Car prices went up. People got laid off. So did everything from refrigerators
That's
to
because you
cell
guys
phones.
shut everything down.
We can never let that happen again. That's why we came together to pass the Bipartisan Chips and Science Act.
Chips and Science Act. Oh, my God.
Folks, I know I've been criticized for saying this, but I'm not changing my view. We're going to make sure the supply chain for America begins in America. The supply chain
Not with
begins in America.
Buttigieg in charge.
We've already created 800,000 new manufacturing jobs without this law, before the law kicks in. With this new law, we're going to create hundreds of thousands
Again,
of
that's
jobs
because
across the country.
everybody's coming back from
All
COVID.
across the country, throughout not just the coast, but through the middle of the country as well. That's going to come from companies that have announced more than $300 billion in investment in American manufacturing over the next few years. Outside of Columbus, Ohio, Intel is building semiconductor factories on 1,000 acres, literally a field of dreams. It's going to create 10,000 jobs, that one investment, 7,000 construction jobs, 3,000 jobs in those factories once they're finished.
What's up,
They call
Bob?
them factories. Jobs paying an average of $130,000 a year, and many do
An
not
average of
require a college
130,000.
degree.
How much did you get from China, Joe? 31 mil at the last count?
Jobs. Because we work together, these jobs where people don't have to leave home to search for opportunity.
Thanks, man.
It's just getting
You guys are the
started.
best.
Think about the new homes, the small businesses, the medium-sized businesses.
I got a German
So
Shepherd
much
here
more
that's
gonna
crying.
be needed
I
to
want
support
attention.
Those 3,000 permanent jobs and the factories that are going to be built. Talk to mayors and governors, Democrats and Republicans, and they'll tell you what this means for.
What about those MAGA Republicans,
For
Joe?
seeing these field of dreams transformed to the heartland. But to maintain the strongest economy in the world, we need the best infrastructure in the world. And folks,
Another infrastructure bill that will not go to
you all
infrastructure. Obama pulled that shit.
we used to be number one in the world in infrastructure. We've sunk to 13th
I got my
in the
popcorn.
world. The United States of America, 13th in the world in infrastructure, modern infrastructure. But now we're coming back because we came together and
Look how
passed the
angry he
bipartisan
looks.
Infrastructure law, the largest investment in infrastructure since President Eisenhower.
Bob, what kind of
integrated
drugs do you
highway
think they put him on tonight?
system. Folks,
You're right, man. I tried to get Jimmy in here, but he's so tired he fell asleep.
20,000 projects, including major airports from Boston to Atlanta to Portland. Projects that are going to put thousands of people to work rebuilding our highways, our bridges, our railroads, our tunnels, ports, airports, clean water, high-speed internet, all across America. Urban, rural, tribal. And folks, we're just getting started.
These guys can't even shoot down a balloon on day one.
And I mean this sincerely.
He's
I want
sincere.
to thank my Republican friends who voted for the law and my Republican friends who voted against it as well. But I still get asked to fund the projects in those districts as well. But don't worry. I promised I'd be.
When he
a
goes
friend
off
of all
script, man,
Americans.
that's when he's the
We'll
best.
fund these projects. And I'll see you at the groundbreaking. Look,
Everybody stand.
This law will further unite all of America. Projects like Brent Spence Bridge in Kentucky over the Ohio River, built 60 years ago, badly needed repairs, one of the nation's most congested freight routes, carrying $2 billion worth of freight every single day across the Ohio River. And folks, I've been talking about fixing it for decades, but we're really finally going to get it done.
No, you're not.
I went there last month with Democrats and Republicans.
So far, Biden has not met any challenge that's been put up to him.
$1.6 billion.
Bob, can you hear me? That would suck if I'm talking and you can't hear me.
While I was there, I met a young woman named Sarah, who's here tonight. I don't know where Sarah is. Is she up in the box? I don't know. Sarah, how are you? Well, Sarah, for 30 years, I learned, she told me she'd been a proud member of the Iron Workers Local 44, known as the Cowboys in the Sky.
Cool, man. Thanks.
The folks who built.
Yeah, I called Jimmy. He was all groggy. He's like, I'm falling asleep. I'm like, you're not watching HB?
Be 10 stories above the Ohio River building that new bridge. God bless her. That's pride. And that's what we're also building. We're building back pride. Look, we're also replacing poisonous lead pipes that go into 10
I'll be
million
feeding half my
homes in
popcorn to my shepherd.
400,000 school and child care centers. So every child in America,
The only junk food I feed
them
them.
water instead of having permanent damage to their brain. Look,
Permanent damage to their brain. Look who's talking.
we're making sure that every community in America has access to affordable high-speed internet. No parent should have to.
Which means that you're going to pay for it.
To help them do their homework online with their kids, which many thousands were doing across the country. And when we do these projects, and again I get criticized for this, but I make no excuses for it. We're going to buy American. We're going to buy America, folks.
You sure Xi's going to like that?
And it's totally.
I just saw Chief
consistent
Crazy
with
Bitch.
international
She's in the
trade
audience.
rules.
Elizabeth
Fire
Warren.
has been the law since 1933, but for too long, past administrations, Democrat and Republican, have fought to get around it. Not anymore. Tonight, I'm announcing new standards that require all construction materials used in federal infrastructure projects to be made in America.
Hey, Zeus, how you doing, brother? Made in USA.
Made in America.
Yeah.
I mean it.
You think those Chinese pockets are going to be happy to hear that?
Lumber, glass, drywall, fiber optic cable. And on my watch, American roads, bridges, and American highways are going to be made with American products as well. Folks, my economic plan is about investing in places and people that have been forgotten.
Oh, my
So
God.
many of you listening to me tonight,
You hear
I
this?
know you feel it. So many of you felt like you've just simply been forgotten. Amid the economic upheaval
They're
of the past
forgotten
4
because your
decades,
fucking party
too many people
forgot them.
have been left behind and treated like they're invisible.
Come here, buddy.
Maybe that's you watching from home. Remember the jobs that went away. You remember them, don't you?
Yeah, we remember when you sent the jobs
Folks at home
overseas with
remember.
NAFTA and all
Wonder
those
whether
other
the past
nasty ass.
even exists anymore for your children to get ahead without having to move away. Well, that's why I get that. That's why we're building an economy where no one's left behind.
Yeah, Bob, me too,
Pride is
man.
coming back. Pride is coming back because choices we made.
Bob,
in the
where
last
are you
7
from?
years. You know, this is, in my view, a blue-collar blueprint to rebuild America and make a real difference.
Well, thank
in
you
the
for
lives of
popping in, Jesus.
For example, too many
Appreciate it,
of
man.
you
This is my first live feed. I
laying
screwed
bed
it up in the
like
beginning.
My dad did, staring at the ceiling, wondering what in God's names happens if your spouse gets cancer or your child gets deadly ill.
Oh, he's going to lose
What
it.
happens to you? What are you going to get money to pay for those medical bills? Or you're going to have to sell the house or try to get a second mortgage on it. I get it. I get it.
No, you don't.
The Inflation Reduction Act that I signed into law We're taking
created
on
more
powerful
inflation.
interest to bring healthcare costs down.
Oh,
so you can
California.
sleep better
Oh,
at
my
night
condolences.
with more
Beautiful
security.
land. Fucking
You know,
moron
we
running the
pay
state.
more for prescription drugs than any nation in the world. Let me say it again. We pay more for prescription drugs than any major nation on earth. For example, 1 in 10 Americans has diabetes. Many of you in this chamber do, and in the audience. But every day, millions need insulin to control their diabetes so they can literally stay alive. Insulin's been around for over 100 years. The guy who invented it didn't even patent it because he wanted it to be available for everyone.
You hear this? He told this lie again.
It cost the drug companies roughly $10 a vial to make that insulin. Packaging and all.
He tells these stories and he lies
But
and he
Big
gets
Pharma
debunked and he still tells
and
them.
unfairly charging people hundreds of dollars, $400 to
IQ
$500
reduction
a
act.
month, making record profits. Not anymore.
Not anymore. God damn it. Oh. Good time.
So many things that we did are only now coming to fruition. We said we were doing this, and we said we
Here's my
passed
big
the law
guy.
to do it,
Come on.
but people didn't know because the law didn't take effect until January 1 of this year. We capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors on Medicare.
Yeah. You're welcome. That means we got to pay for it.
People are just
Government has
finding
no
out.
money of its own. Has to
Sure,
forcefully
you're
take
getting
it
the
from
same
us.
calls I'm getting. Look, there are millions of other Americans who do not or are not on Medicare, including 200,000 young people.
They didn't force them to lower the
with type
price.
1
They just said,
diabetes
we'll
who
subsidize it.
Need this insulin to stay alive. Let's
Vote
finish
for
the
us.
job this time. Let's cap the cost of insulin for everybody at $35. Folks,
I'm eating all the
Big Pharma's
popcorn.
still going to do very well, I promise you all. I promise you they're going to do very well.
Ah,
This law also caps and won't even go into effect until 2025.
somebody says, I promise you.
Costs, out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors on Medicare at a maximum of $2,000 a year. You don't have to pay more than $2,000 a year.
Didn't
no
we
matter
hear
how
this
much
bullshit
the drug
before
costs.
under Obama?
Because you know why?
The
You all
average
know
family's going to save
many of
$2,500 a
you,
year.
Many in my family have cancer. You know the drugs can range from $10, $11, $14, $15,000 for the cancer drugs. If drug prices rise faster than inflation, drug
Brought to you
companies are
by
gonna have to
Pfizer.
pay Medicare back the difference. We're finally giving Medicare the power to negotiate drug prices. Bringing down prescription drug costs doesn't just save seniors money. It cuts the federal
Look at him.
deficit
It cuts
by
the federal.
billions of dollars.
He does that shit all the time. It like creeps me out.
By hundreds of billions of dollars.
Medicare
these
actually
prescription
sets the
drugs
rate for all other
Drugs
insurances.
purchased by Medicare to
Everybody goes,
make-
I'll pay 85% of what Medicare pays.
Well, guess what? Instead of paying $400 or $500 a month, you're paying $15. That's a lot of savings for the federal government.
It's not going to happen,
And by the
folks.
way, why would we want that? Now, some members here are threatening, and I know it's not an official party position, so I'm not going to exaggerate, but threatening to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. As my coach,
Yes,
That's
because
okay.
it's not reducing
Fair.
inflation.
as my football coach used to say, lots of luck in your senior year. Make no mistake. If you try anything to raise the cost of prescription drugs, I will veto it.
You're not going to be here in 6 months.
Look, I'm pleased to say
Look at him yelling.
more Americans have health insurance now than ever in history. A record 16 million people are enrolled in the Affordable Care Act. And thanks to the law I signed last year, saving millions are saving $800 a year on their premiums.
And he's full of shit.
the
And the
way,
rest of them went
That
on
law was written.
Medicare.
and the benefit
or
expires in
Medicaid, and we got to pay
2025.
for them.
So my plea to some of you, at least in this audience, let's finish the job and make these savings permanent. Expand coverage of Medicaid.
Do you remember when Trump came up with the drug reduction program that he had? They called it dead on arrival.
The Inflation Reduction Act is also
Except his wasn't.
the biggest investment ever in climate.
His wasn't like a socialist thing where the government was going to pay for everything and subsidize. He basically said, "Look, you
Lower
charge
utility
us,
bills,
well, you
creating
charge the
American
rest of
jobs,
the
leading
the world,
clean energy future. I visited the
or else we're not
devastating
going to buy it
aftermath
from you."
Of record floods, droughts,
And they
storms,
went,
and
"Okay."
wildfires from Arizona to New Mexico to all the way up to the Canadian border. More timber has been burned, that I've observed from helicopters, than the entire state of Missouri. And we don't have global warming? Not
I
a
love that
problem.
the My Pillow guy's
In
up there
addition
next to Joe
emergency
Biden.
Recovery, from Puerto
Max,
Rico to
Max.
Florida to Idaho, we're
Max.
rebuilding for the long term. New electric grids that are able to weather major storms and not prevent those forest fires. Roads and water systems withstand the next big flood. Clean energy to cut pollution and create jobs in communities often left behind. We're going to build 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
No, you're not.
Installed across the country by tens of thousands of IBEW workers. And we're helping families save more than $1,000
Translation,
tax credit.
we're going to bullshit you on how much money you're going to save, but we're going to force you out of your gas car.
Energy efficient appliances. Historic conservation efforts to be responsible stewards of our land. Let's face reality. The climate crisis doesn't care if you're.
Oh, Jesus Christ, the climate crisis.
It's an existential
Exactly.
threat.
Political
We have an
farce. I love that.
obligation, not to ourselves, but to our children and grandchildren to confront it. I'm proud of how America. at
We
last
got to
is
nip this
stepping up to
climate
the
change
challenge.
bullshit in the bud.
We're still going to need oil and gas for a while. But guess
He's
what?
full of shit.
No, we do.
Outside of
But there's
computer
so
models,
much
they have
more to
absolutely
do.
no evidence.
We got to finish the job. And we pay for these investments in our future by finally making the wealthiest and biggest corporations begin to pay their fair share.
They already pay more than anybody. Oh, my God. According to the IRS, the rich pay the most money.
Look, I'm a capitalist.
No, you're not.
I'm a capitalist, but pay your fair share.
Jesus Christ.
I think
I
a
go
lot of
nuts
you
when
at
I hear him
home-
say this, Bob.
A lot of you at home agree with me and many people that you know. The tax system.
The
is
fucking
not
IRS says
fair.
that, like, the
It is
top
not
5% pays what, 73% of the entire federal income tax burden? They're paying their fair
Look.
share.
The idea that in 2020,
You're going to get sick.
55 of the largest corporations in America, the Fortune 500, made $40 billion in profits and paid zero in federal taxes?
Right, because they took
Zero?
advantage of the loopholes that you assholes put into the
Simply
tax
not
code.
fair. But now, because of the law I signed,
Because they built things that you
companies have
wanted
to pay a
built
minimum of
and took the tax
15%.
deduction.
God love them. 15%. That's less than a nurse pays.
Oh, we're back to, Jesus Christ, we're back to the Obama years.
And let me be crystal clear. I said at the very beginning,
It's never been
under
crystal
my
clear.
plans, as long as I'm president, nobody earning less than $400,000 will pay an additional penny in taxes.
He just
Nobody,
taxed the shit
not
out
one
of us on
penny.
other things.
Well, let's finish the job. There's more to do. We
Oh,
have
my
to
God.
reward work, not just wealth. Pass my proposal.
You increased
for the
taxes on
billionaire
gasoline.
minimum tax.
Guess what? You just gave an
You know,
increase in taxes to
There's
people
1,000
making under
billionaires in
400,000.
America. It's up from about 600 in the beginning of the term. But no billionaire should be paying a lower tax rate than a school teacher or firefighter.
Sure, he said, because the school
I
teacher and the
mean,
firefighter
think
don't
about
do
it.
the fucking projects that you guys want them to do. If you build affordable housing, you can take 5% off your taxes. That's what they do. So they could make more money elsewhere, but they build affordable housing for people.
And no yarn
And they
on
take
who's
advantage of the
asking about
tax
that.
break.
Think about it. Think about it.
You do 20 of those at 5%, you're paying nothing in taxes. But they got all they wanted, now they're fucking bitching at you. Pardon my French.
Last year they made $200 billion in the midst of a global energy crisis.
Yeah.
I think it's outrageous.
I think he's outrageous.
They invested too little of that profit to increase domestic production. And when I talk to a couple of them, they say, we're afraid you're going to shut down all the oil wells and all the oil
Yeah.
refineries anyway, so why should we invest in them?
Exactly.
I said, we're going to need oil for at least another decade. And that's going
Then why did he shut them the fuck down?
And beyond that, we're going to need it. Production. If they had, in fact, invested in the production to keep gas prices down, instead, they used the record profits to buy back their own stock,
Jesus Christ.
rewarding the CEOs and shareholders. Corporations ought to do the right thing. That's why I propose we quadruple the tax on corporate stock buybacks and encourage long-term investments.
You hear this shit? That's
Just
why I'm
put
saying we're going to
considerable
punish the
profit.
people that take advantage of the tax laws that are actually in there.
Let's finish the job and close the loopholes that allow very wealthy to avoid paying their taxes.
There really
Instead of
aren't that
cutting
many
the number of
loopholes
audits
left.
for wealthy taxpayers, I just signed a law to reduce the deficit by $114 billion by cracking down on wealthy tax cheats.
Jesus Christ.
That's being fiscally responsible.
Look at him yelling.
In the last 2 years,
Bob, we have a fucking lunatic as a
my
president.
administration has cut the deficit by more than $1.7 trillion.
Yes, and he added how
Largest
much to
deficit
the
reduction
debt?
in American history.
Are you kidding me?
Under the
Unbelievable.
previous administration, the American deficit went up 4 years in a row.
Bob, am I too loud? Because on
Because those
Jimmy's
record deficits,
thing,
no
I'm like
president
way
added
too loud
more
all
to
the
the
time.
national debt in any 4 years than my predecessor. Nearly 25% of the entire national debt that took over 200 years to accumulate was added by just one administration alone, the last one. They're the facts. Check it out.
It's full of crap.
Check it out.
Look at this. The
How
president
did
has to say,
Congress
check it
respond to that
out.
debt?
No, it's serious. I'm true. I'm
They
being
did the
honest.
right thing. They lifted the debt ceiling 3 times without preconditions or crisis. They paid American bills to prevent an
You know, I love when they
disaster in
say,
the country.
well, we got to pay our
Tonight,
bills.
I'm asking
No,
the
no,
Congress to
you
follow
should have
suit.
not spent over
Let's commit
what
here
you were
tonight that
allowed
the full
to.
faith and credit of the United States of America will never, ever be questioned. So some of my Republican friends want to take the economy hostage. I get it.
Are you fucking
Unless
kidding
I agree
me?
to their economic plans.
Oh, Jesus
All of
Christ.
you at home should know what those plans are.
Thank you, sir.
Instead
Appreciate
of making
it.
the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans
Everything he said.
want Medicare and
is a
Social
fucking
Security
lie.
sunset. I'm
Everything.
not saying it's a majority.
You hear this shit? You hear this?
Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my
Look at him.
office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the
Dude,
proposal.
this is.
That means Congress doesn't vote.
Look at him. Look at him.
I'm glad to see you.
He's
I'm glad
laughing
to
because
see you.
that's
I
what
enjoy
brain dead
conversion.
people do.
You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I
Oh,
don't
my
think it's
God.
even a significant.
It's only those MAGA Republicans.
but
Listen
it's
to
being
this. Do you hear
proposed
this?
By individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you.
Name them then. Go ahead. Because you don't. No.
Folks, the idea is that we're not going to be. We're not going to be.
This thing is a
moved
shit
into
show already.
Threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond, folks.
Dude, what is the point of having a debt ceiling if you go over it every time and then say, we got to raise it? That's unbelievable. Hi, Susan.
So
Yeah.
folks,
Great one,
all
Susan.
very
I
agreed.
was thinking that earlier.
Social Security and Medicare is off the books now, right? They're not to be started. All right.
It's off the books. Unbelievable. So we can spend more.
We got unanimity.
We got through the word. You believe this shit? What are you
Social
saying
Security
so
and
far?
Medicare are a lifeline for millions of seniors. Americans have to pay into them from the very first paycheck they started. So tonight, let's all agree, and we currently are. Let's stand up for seniors.
Yeah, you're right. Dude, he has been, because they held those 20 holdouts. They held him
Stand
to his
up
promises,
show
and
them.
he's actually been okay
We
so
will
far.
not cut Social Security. We will not cut Medicare.
Yes, you will.
Those benefits belong to the American people. They earned it. And if anyone tries to cut Social Security, which apparently no one's going to do. and
Yet
if
they
anyone
always claim.
tries to
Let
cut
me tell you something.
Medicare,
They always claim, well, the Republicans want to
Look,
take your Social Security, even though they
Look,
taxed
I'm not
Social
gonna allow
Security
them to take
recipients
away-
more.
be taken away.
Taking
Not
away
today,
their
not
Social
tomorrow,
Security.
not ever, but apparently it's not going to be a problem.
Thanks,
Next
Susan.
month, When I offer my fiscal plan, I ask my Republican friends to lay down their
Do you know
plan as
Bob?
well.
Bob's a cool guy. He's been here
I
a
really
while.
mean it.
He
Let's
comes
sit
from
down
my
together
brother's feed,
and discuss
my
our
brother's
mutual plans
channel.
together.
I tried to get him in here,
Let's
but
do
he's a
that.
no-show. He's tired. He fell asleep. He's Jimmy from Philly. That's his channel.
I can tell you, the plan I'm going to show you is going to cut the deficit by another $2 trillion.
I didn't hear
Won't
that.
cut a
Dude, you got to
single
tell
bit
me
of
later.
Medicare or Social Security. In fact, we're going to extend the Medicare Trust Fund at least 2 decades, because that's going to be the next argument. How do we keep it solvent, right? Well, we'll not raise tax on anyone making under 400 grand, but we'll pay for it the way we talked about tonight, by making sure that the wealthy and big corporations.
This is fucking Bill Clinton and Obama again. Got to get the rich to pay their fair share. They already pay like 73%.
Advantage of the tax
The
code.
top
Taking
5%
advantage, you, the American
pay like
consumer.
73. According to the
Here's my
IRS.
message to all of you out there.
This guy's such a
Have your
liar.
back. We're already preventing Americans from receiving surprise medical bills, stopping $1 billion surprise bills per month so far.
Everything the government
We're
touches
protecting-
turns to crap.
Seniors' life savings by cracking down on nursing homes that commit fraud.
Do you hear this
endanger
shit?
Patient safety, prescribed drugs.
Oh, you mean like stuffing COVID
Millions of
patients
Americans
inside
now
nursing
save
homes in blue
thousands of
states?
dollars because they can finally get a hearing aid over the counter without a prescription. Look,
All the old
capitalism
people are standing.
without competition is not capitalism. It's extortion. It's exploitation. Last year, I cracked down with the help of many of you on foreign shipping companies that were making you pay higher prices for every good coming into the country. I signed a bipartisan bill to cut shipping costs by
Yeah,
90%,
exactly, bro.
helping American farmers, businessmen, and consumers. Let's finish the job. Pass the bipartisan legislation to strengthen antitrust enforcement and prevent big online platforms from giving their own products an unfair advantage. My administration is also taking on junk fees, those hidden surcharges too many companies use to make you pay more. For example, we're making airlines show
You hear
you the
this shit?
full ticket price up front, refund your money if your flight is canceled or delayed. We reduce exorbitant bank overdrafts by saving consumers more than $1 billion a year. We're cutting credit card late fees by 75%. From
Where does it
$30
say
to $8.
in the Constitution that they have the right to do any of that?
Look,
If you sign
junk
up for a
fees
credit card fee of 36%,
may not matter to
you're a
those who
moron.
matter to
And
those
guess
who
what? You should be held to
I
it.
grew up in, like many of you did. They add up to hundreds of dollars a month. They make it harder for you to pay your bills or afford that family trip.
Come here.
I know how unfair it feels when a company overcharges you and gets away with it. Not anymore. We've written a bill to stop it all. It's called the Junk Fee Prevention Act.
Junk fee
We're
prevention.
going to ban
Act.
surprise
oh my God.
resort fees
You all right, buddy?
that hotels charge on your bill. Those fees can cost you up to $90 a night at hotels that aren't even resorts.
Oh, Bob, you're funny.
The idea that cable, internet, and cell phone companies can charge you $200 or more if you decide to switch to another provider. Give me a break. We can stop service fees on tickets to concerts and sporting events and make companies disclose all the fees up front. And we'll prohibit airlines from charging $50 round trip for family.
Do you hear
just
that?
to be able to
Everything,
sit together.
guys, everything he said
Baggage
tonight is a
fees are bad
punishment
enough.
on
Airlines
business.
can't treat your child like a piece of baggage. Americans are tired of being.
Treat your child like,
tired
what do
of
they go
being
in the
played for
cargo
suckers.
section? Get in there, kid.
So pass the Junk Free Prevention Act so companies stop ripping us off. For too long, workers have been getting stiffed, but not anymore.
Unbelievable.
We're beginning to restore the dignity of work. For example,
What?
I should have known this, but I didn't until 2 years ago. 30 million workers have to sign non-compete agreements for the jobs they take. 30 million.
Don't take the
So
job.
a cashier at a burger place can't walk across town and take the same job at another burger place and make a few bucks more. It just changed. But they just changed it because we exposed it. That was part of the deal, guys.
Yeah.
Look it up. But not anymore. We're banning those agreements, so companies have to compete for workers and pay them.
I love
what
how they
they're worth.
bitched for the $15 an hour, and so they came up with Robo Burger. It wiped them all out.
And I must tell you, this is bound to get a response from my friends on my left but the right.
My dog's driving me nuts.
So
I'll be
sick and
back in
tired
2
of
seconds. I got to let him out.
breaking the law by preventing workers from organizing. Pass the PRO Act. Because business have a right. Workers have a right to form a union. And let's guarantee all workers have a living wage. Let's make sure working parents can afford to raise a family with sick days, paid family medical leave, affordable child care. That's going to enable millions of more people to go and stay at work. And let's restore the full child tax credit,
Sorry about that.
which gave tens
I gotta
of
go out in
millions
another
of
minute,
parents
pick
some
'em up.
breathing room, and cut child poverty in half to the lowest level in history. And by the way,
It's not the government's job to cut poverty.
increase productivity. We increase economic growth.
They're the ones that create
So let's
most of
finish
it.
the job and get more families access to affordable, quality housing. Let's get seniors who want to stay in their homes. the care
Yeah, he
they
has a
need
plan
for
where he wants to put Section 8
Let's get more
housing in
breathing room
suburban
to manage
neighborhoods.
Family caregivers looking after their loved ones. Pass my plan.
He's already doing it in
so we
Pennsylvania.
get seniors and people with disabilities the home care and services they need. And support.
Where is
workers
any
who
of
are
this
doing
in the
God's
Constitution? None of it is.
These plans are fully paid for, and we can afford to do
You hear him
it.
yelling? These plans are fully paid for.
Means making education an affordable ticket
Oh
to
my
the middle
God.
class. You know, when we made public education, 12 years of it, universal in the last century, we made the best educated, best paid, we became the best educated, best paid nation in the world.
Not anymore.
The rest of the world's caught up. It's caught up. Jill, my wife, who teaches
It's because
full-time,
Jimmy Carter,
has an
that
expression.
Democratic Party
I
prank,
hope I get it right, kid.
because he
Any
made it a
nation
cabinet level
that
position,
out-educates
education.
us is going to outcompete us. Any nation that out-educates is going to outcompete us. Folks, we all know 12 years of education is not enough to win the economic competition
Jesus
of the 21st
Christ.
century.
Not everybody has to go to college to do well.
If we want to have the best educated workforce, let's finish the job.
Oh my God. I was going to
By
say, let's
providing
finish the
access to
job.
preschool
I'll be right back. I got
for
to get
3
my
and 4
dog.
years old. Studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school and go on to earn a 2 or 4 year degree, no matter their background they came from. Let's give public school teachers a raise. We're making progress by reducing student debt, increasing Pell Grants for working and middle-class families. Let's finish the job.
Let's finish the
Connect students
job.
to career opportunities starting
That's
in
what he
high
says to
school.
Hunter.
Provide access to 2 years of community college. The best career training. in
Provide
America,
access,
in addition to
meaning
being
we gotta pay
pathway
for
to a 4-year degree. Let's offer every American a path to a good career, whether they go to college or not.
What?
And folks,
Look at him. His face. He's so angry.
folks, in the midst of the COVID crisis, when schools were closed
You shut them down. Democrats.
and we were shutting down everything, let's recognize how far we came. in
It
the
is
fight
today,
against
man.
The pandemic itself.
Make good little socialists out of
While the
them all.
virus is not gone. Thanks
There's
to
a lot
the
of good
resilience of
teachers
the
out there,
American
but they're
people,
overwhelmed
the
with
ingenuity
bad.
of medicine. We've broken the COVID grip on us.
My mom worked at
COVID
University of
deaths are down by
Pennsylvania. She was
90%.
like,
We've
You
saved
wouldn't
millions
believe
of
me if I
lives.
told you,
We
Rich.
opened up our country. We opened our country back up, and soon we'll end the public health emergency.
he said it was over. He
That's
already
called
said it was
public health
over.
emergency. But we'll remember the toll and pain that's never going to go away. More than 1 million Americans lost their lives to COVID. 1 million. Families grieving. Children orphaned. Empty chairs. At the
And the
dining room
government
table
got
constantly
everything
reminding
wrong throughout the entire
them. She
ordeal.
used to sit there,
They're still lying to us.
remembering them. We remain vigilant. We still need to monitor dozens of variants and support new vaccines and treatments.
Do you hear this shit?
Congress needs to fund these efforts and keep America safe.
With all this data coming
And as
out
we
that
emerge from this
the
crisis,
vaccines are really harming
stronger.
people. Yeah,
We're
2 weeks
also
to flatten the
gonna double
curve.
down on prosecuting criminals who stole relief money meant to keep workers and small businesses afloat.
Unbelievable. Yep. Manipulation, total.
Before I came to
I
office,
wonder if he's on like Ativan
in
or
that campaign, the big issue was about
Adderall. I
inspector
don't know what the
generals
hell he's on
who would protect taxpayers' dollars who were sidelined.
because he's never this coherent. He's on
Fine.
something.
Many people said we don't need them, and fraud became rampant. Last year, I told you the watchdogs are back. Since then, we've recovered billions of taxpayers' dollars. Now let's
He's
triple
got those
the anti-fraud
87,000 IRS
specialists going
agents.
after these criminals, double the statute of limitations on these crimes, and crack down on identity fraud by criminal syndicates stealing billions of dollars from the American people.
Surprised he didn't blame the MAGA Republicans for that.
And the data shows that for every dollar we put into fighting fraud, the taxpayers get back at least 10 times as much. It matters. It matters. Look, COVID left its scars, like the spike in violent crime in 2020, the first year of the pandemic. We have an obligation to make sure
No, BLM
all
did
people are
that.
safe. Public safety depends on public trust, as all of us know. But too often that trust is violated. Joining us tonight are the parents of Tyree
Here we go.
Nichols. Welcome.
Oh yeah, that guy, man. I feel bad for his family. I do. From all accounts, he was a good guy. He didn't cause any. He was driving down a one-way street the wrong way. It's not a reason to beat the shit out of him. And I'm very
Had to
pro
bury
cop,
Tyree
unlike my brother.
last week. As many of you personally know, there's no words to describe the heartache or grief of losing a child. But
They
imagine,
came up with a new term.
imagine if you lost that
It
child.
was
at the hands
black
of the
cop,
law.
white supremacy.
Imagine
I'm not kidding.
having to worry whether your son or daughter came home from walking down the street, or playing in the park. Or
Yeah, but
just
see, they
driving
always
a
make
car.
it seem like it's always an innocent
Most of us
guy
in
that gets
here
beaten by police. No,
Never had to have the talk.
99% of the time, it's some scumbag who just
Brown
shot
and
at
black
someone
parents
or
have had to have with their
something.
children. Bo, Hunter, Ashley, my children. I never had to have the talk with them. I never had to tell them. If
No,
a
he
police officer
just
pulls you over,
showered with his
turn your
daughter
interior lights on right away.
and sent his drug-addled son
Don't
to
reach for your
foreign
license.
governments to cut deals.
Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Imagine having to worry like that every single time
Yeah, he doesn't worry.
you got in a car.
What kind of father would do that?
Here's what Tyree's mother shared with me when I spoke to her. When I asked her how she finds the courage to carry on and speak out. The faith of God, she said her son was, quote, a beautiful soul, and something good will come of this.
You're right. You're right,
Imagine how
Bob.
much courage and character that
But they
takes.
did it. They did it.
It's up to us, to all of us. We all want the same thing. Neighborhoods free of
Roseanne Boylan,
violence.
too.
Law enforcement who earns the community's trust. Just as every cop on the
Yeah, but
has a right to be
Democrats
involved
spent the last 30 years trashing cops because they wanted those votes.
Our children have a right to come home safely.
Think about it. They're the motherfuckers that defunded police throughout the
Equal
country.
protection under the laws
And the black
covenant
people that lived in those communities,
with
the
each other in
99% that were honest people, they suffered the consequences of that.
We know police officers put their lives on the line every single night and day.
You should say
We
it
know we
more.
ask them in many cases to do too much to be counselors, social workers, psychologists, responding to drug overdoses, mental health crises, and so much more. In one sense, we ask much too much of them. I know most cops and their families are good, decent, honorable people. The vast
He's
majority.
giving platitudes now. He doesn't believe that.
They risk.
He had a prosecutor fired to protect his criminal son and his criminal self.
And
Is
they
that
risk their
Bono?
lives every time they put that shield on.
Look
What
like
happened
Bono.
to Tyree in Memphis happens too often. We have to do better. Give law enforcement the real training they need.
Tyree Memphis.
Hold them to higher standards.
It was in Memphis. His
Help
name's
them
Tyree
succeed in
Nichols.
keeping us safe. We also need more.
He called him Tyree
professionals to
Memphis.
address the growing mental health.
He
substance
fucked
abuse
that
challenges.
up too.
More resources, reduce violent crime and gun crime. More community intervention programs.
Yeah, blame the gun, not
More
the
investment in
asshole
housing,
shooting it.
Education and job training. All this can help prevent violence in the first place. When police officers or police departments violate the public trust, they must be held accountable.
When he goes, they must be held. That's like, this is an applause line, guys.
With the support of the families of victims, civil rights groups, and law enforcement, I signed an executive order for all federal officers banning chokeholds, restricting no-knock warrants, and other key elements of the George
Restricting no-knock warrants. Are you kidding me?
ourselves to make the words of Tyler Moore true.
Hey, guys with guns inside, we're the cops. We'd like you to open the door, please.
Good.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They would have done that. This is
All of
unbelievable.
us.
The old man's lost it. That's what they would say. And they said that Trump needed to take a test. I feel bad for them. I do. I genuinely do. Because he seemed like a really good guy. You know, he wasn't a scumbag.
All of us in this chamber, we need to rise to this moment. We can't turn away. Let's do what we know in our hearts that we need to do. Let's come together to finish the job on police reform. Do something.
Yeah.
Do something.
They said, fuck you to Tim Scott,
Who lost their children in Uvalde. I met with every one of them.
South Carolina senator, when he
Do
brought up
something about gun violence.
police reform.
Thank God. Thank God we did.
Now the Republicans don't want to do police
Passed the
reform.
most sweeping
No.
gun safety law in 3 decades. That includes things like that the majority of responsible gun owners already support. Enhanced background checks for 18 to 21.
No, we don't
Red
support
flag
that,
law,
Joe.
Keeping guns
That's an
out of the hands of
infringement.
People who are a danger to themselves and others. But we know. our
Yeah,
work
you
is
got to
not
admit it
done.
was pretty good.
Joining us tonight is Brandon Say, a 26-year-old hero. Brandon put his college dreams on hold to be at his mom's side.
Now, what's the difference between the way
Mom's side
he's
as she
saying
died of
this
cancer.
and the way Trump would have said it? Trump was so presidential, and yet they gave him so much crap. When he did the State of the Union, dude, it was worth listening
Brandon now
to.
works at the dance studio started by his grandparents. And 2 weeks ago, during the Lunar New Year celebration,
I bet he's an illegal.
he heard the studio door close. And he saw a man standing there pointing a semi-automatic pistol at him. He thought he was going to die, but he thought about the people inside.
It was that damn
In
semi-automatic.
that instant, he found the courage to act and wrestled a semi-automatic pistol away from the gunman who had already killed 11 people in another dance studio. 11. He saved lives.
Right.
It's time we do the same.
They go after
Ban
the.
assault weapons now,
I drive an assault car.
once and for all.
Jesus Christ.
I led the fight to do that in 1994.
And it didn't work. And he's going to say it did. Watch.
In
It
10
worked
years,
before.
That ban was law and mass shootings went down.
No, it didn't.
After he led
He's a
the
liar. He's a
fire
fucking
in the
liar.
administration,
Pardon my French there,
mass
Susan.
shootings tripled.
You still with us,
Finish the
Susan?
job and ban these assault weapons. And let's also come together on immigration.
Yeah.
Make
Exactly.
it a bipartisan issue once again.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
We know we now have a record number of personnel working to secure the border, arresting 8,000 human smugglers.
And there's like 100,000
fentanyl.
a day coming over the borders. I mean, they're
Launched a new
overwhelmed.
border plan last month.
They're shipping them off to blue
Migration from
states.
Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela.
Oh,
has come
man.
down 97% as a consequence of that.
Do you believe this?
American
The lies
border
he's telling?
problems won't be fixed until Congress acts.
Drugs are down
Pass
97%.
My comprehensive immigration reform. At least pass my plan to provide the equipment
Comprehensive
to secure the border.
immigration reform for Democrats means let's create Democrat voters out of all these illegals that are living here.
Pathway to citizenship for dreamers.
They already have a
Those
pathway to
temporary
citizenship.
status
It's called
farm
going
workers,
through the
essential
fucking
workers.
process to become a
Here
citizen.
in the people's house. It's
That's
our
the
duty
pathway.
to protect all the people's rights and freedoms. Congress must restore the right and the
You hear this? Look, he's stuck. Look at him.
Congress must restore the right that was taken away in Roe v. Wade and protect Roe
Oh
v.
my
Wade.
God. Oh my God. The Supreme Court just told them you don't have the authority to do it. That's all they
Vice
said.
President and I are doing everything.
It's not in the Constitution,
Protect
Joe.
access to reproductive health care and safeguard patient safety.
Unbelievable.
Well, already more than a
Unfucking
dozen
believable.
states are enforcing extreme abortion bans. Make no mistake about it. If Congress passes
It's
a national
not
ban,
your
I
authority,
vote.
Joe. It's the states. 10th Amendment,
It's also
a-hole.
passed- It's also passed the Bipartisan Equality Act to ensure LGBTQ Americans, especially transgender young people, can live with safety and dignity.
Why aren't they now? Yeah, you're right. It's not a right.
Our strength is not just the
I wrote a
example
book
of our
on this.
power, but the power
And
of
why
our
the Supreme
example.
Court had to lower,
Let's
had to
remember the
get rid of it.
world's
They had to
watching.
throw it out.
I spoke in this chamber 1 year ago, just days after Vladimir Putin unleashed his brutal attack against Ukraine.
That he egged
Murderous
on.
assault.
I think it's going to go in.
Images of death
He
and
has to go
destruction
in now.
Europe suffered in World War II. Putin's invasion has been a test
Oh,
For
Christ,
the
there's Millie.
for America, a test for the
Millie's a
world.
disgrace.
Would we stand for the most basic of principles?
He went behind
We
Trump's
stand for
back and did
sovereignty.
many things that he
We
should have
stand
been
for the right of
thrown
people to
out.
live free of tyranny? Will we stand for the defense of democracy? For such defense matters to us because it keeps peace and prevents open season on would-be aggressors and threatens our prosperity.
So long as Xi says so.
1 year later, we know the answer. Yes, we would, and we did. We did.
When?
And together, we did what America always does at our best. We led. We united NATO. We built a global coalition.
Jesus
stood
Christ.
against Putin's
They
aggression.
sent billions and billions
Stood
of
with Ukrainian
dollars.
people tonight. For
And
once
they're
again, talked about
losing.
Ukrainians ambassador to the United States.
They tell you the
Represents
Ukrainians are
not
winning.
just
No, they're not.
aggression, But the courage of her people, ambassador.
Talk to the people who are there. They're not winning.
United, we're united in our support of your country. Will you stand so we can all take a look at you?
Oh, God.
Thank you. Because we're going to stand with you as long as it takes.
Yeah, agreed. Listen to this bonehead.
Our nation's working.
This whole
for
Ukraine
freedom,
thing, Bob,
more
is to
more
cover up
peace,
for all the corruption they
security
did in
everywhere.
Ukraine. I'm telling you, that's what it
Before I
is.
came to office, the story was about how the People's Republic of China was increasing its power.
You hear this?
And
China
America's
now.
failing in the world. Not anymore. We made clear, and I made clear in my personal conversations, which have been many, with President Xi, that we seek competition, not conflict. But I will make no apologies that we're investing to make America stronger. Investing in American innovation and industries that will define the future that China intends to be dominated.
I wonder if he got this
Investing in our
approved by Xi
alliance.
Jinping.
And working with our allies to protect advanced technologies so they will not be used against us. Modernizing our military.
Meanwhile, they
safeguard
just flew a
stability,
fucking balloon
deter
across our country
aggression.
and got all the
Today,
info they
we're
needed
in the strongest position in decades
for a
to
bunch of
compete with China or
EMPs, the
anyone
next
else in
balloons
the
coming
world.
over.
Anyone else.
This
in the
guy's a joke.
world. And I'm
Everything he's
committed.
saying is a joke.
I'm committed to work with China where we can advance American interests and benefit the world.
You're right,
Make
Bob.
no mistake about it. As we made clear last week,
He
China
has
threatens our sovereignty.
capitulated so many
We will
things to
act
China.
Protect our country, and we did.
He took our strategic petroleum reserve and sold millions of barrels to China. That's supposed to be for our military in
clear.
case of war.
Winning the competition should unite all of us.
Jesus
We
Christ.
face serious challenges across the world. But in the past 2 years, democracies have become stronger, not
Hey,
weaker.
cool.
Autocracies
Dude,
have grown
you have
weaker,
some
not
good
stronger.
ones.
Name
I'm going to
me a
steal
world
that.
leader who changed places with Xi Jinping. Name me one. Name me one.
Look at him. Look at him.
America's rallying the world to meet those challenges.
Look
from
at him
climate to
yelling.
global health,
Name me one,
food insecurity,
motherfucker.
terrorism,
Wouldn't that be funny if you let a motherfucker slip out?
Allies are stepping up, spending more, and doing more. Look, the bridges we're forming between partners in the Pacific and those in the Atlantic, and those who bet against America are learning how wrong they are. It's never, ever been a good bet to bet against America. Never.
Yeah, it's a great platitude, but he's made millions of dollars betting against America. Yeah, I think it is. I think they get angry because they think that that'll make people take them seriously.
When I came to office, most assured that bipartisanship
When he stole office,
was impossible, but never believed it. That's why a year ago I offered a unity agenda to the nation.
he offered not. Jesus Christ, he stood outside Independence Hall and said that MAGA Republicans were the scourge of the earth, a threat to democracy.
Investments in mental health. We launched the
Unity? Are you kidding me? He told Americans that weren't vaccinated that they were evil.
Passed the Heath Robinson PACT Act, named after the late Iraq War veteran whose story
You're right.
about exposure to toxic burn kits.
He's allowing the Chinese to buy up all our fucking farmland. They're buying up our farm. You would think that that food would be a national security concern, right? He's allowing them to buy it all up, and Bill Gates is buying the other half.
I understand something about those burn pits, but there's so much more to do. We can do it together. Joining us tonight is a father named Doug.
No one takes you seriously, Joe.
He wrote Jill, my wife, a letter, and me as well, about his courageous
Who
daughter,
talks like that? He wrote Jill, my wife, a letter, and me as well.
His sister's best friend, her sister's best friend. He shared the story all too familiar to millions of Americans and many of you in the audience. Courtney discovered pills in high school. It spiraled into addiction and eventually death from a fentanyl overdose.
You mean like your son?
She was just 20 years old. Describing the last 8 years without her, Doug said, "There's no worse pain." Yet their family has turned pain to purpose, working to end the stigma and change laws. He told us he wants to start a journey toward American recovery. Doug, we're with you. Fentanyl is killing more than 70,000 Americans a year.
And the Chinese are bringing it to us.
You got it.
Jesus Christ. Trump talked about this all the time. And he cut it out. Think about that, Bob.
So let's launch a major
Trump
surge in
solved
fentanyl
the border
prevention
problem.
and the sale and trafficking.
This motherfucker
More
opened the
drug
border,
detection machines,
and more
inspections,
Americans are now
stop
dying
pills
from
and
overdoses.
powders at the border.
Kids think they're buying like Ritalin,
Working with couriers
Online,
like
and-
FedEx.
and they're
Ship
getting
more
fentanyl and
for
dying.
drugs. Strong penalties to crack down on fentanyl trafficking. Second, let's do more on mental health, especially for our children.
He's not going to do
Millions of
shit.
young people are struggling with bullying, violence, trauma. We give them greater access to mental
You mean
health
like the
care in
black kid
schools.
that beat the living shit out of the 9-year-old white girl, but your fucking mainstream media changed the race of the kid in their photos for their articles? You mean that,
It's
Joe?
time to pass bipartisan legislation to stop big tech from collecting personal data on our kids.
Are you
Teenagers online.
are you listening to this?
Ban targeted advertising to children.
He
And
forced
stricter
big tech
limits
to fucking
on the
censor
personal
us.
data that companies collect on all of us.
These people got balls.
Third, let's do more to keep this nation's one truly sacred obligation to equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home.
My son picked
Job
the
training,
worst
job
time. He
placement
thought
for
Trump was going to
veterans and
win.
their spouses
He went
as
in the
they
military.
return to civilian life.
Now this is his fucking commander in chief.
Because no one should
They
be
forced
homeless
him
in
to
America,
get the
especially
jab.
Someone who served the country.
Yeah, it is, dude. You're right. Oh, man.
Dennis McDonough is here, of the VA.
Fucked his name up.
We had a first real discussion when I asked him to take the job. I'm glad he did. We were losing up to 25 veterans a day on suicide. Now we're losing 17 a day to the silent scourge of suicide. 17 veterans a day are committing suicide.
That's because you guys fucked up the
More than
VA
all the
again.
people being killed in the wars.
They're not being treated right.
Folks, VA is doing everything it can, including expanding.
Yeah,
mental
stuffing
health
shit into drawers so you don't have to
training
take
programs
them
of
as
recruits
patients.
veterans,
That's what they
help
did
other
before
veterans
Trump got there.
understand what they're going through. Get them the help they need. We got to do more.
Yeah, the thing.
Fourth-
You know, the thing.
Last year, Jill and I reignited the cancer moonshot that I was able to start with President Obama asked me to lead our administration on this issue.
And you
Our goal is
failed.
to cut the cancer death rates at least by 50% in the next 25 years.
But you failed.
Turn more cancers from death sentences to treatable diseases.
You failed.
Provide more support for patients and their families.
You failed.
It's personal to so many of us in this audience. Joining us are Morris and Candice, an Irishman and a daughter of immigrants from Panama. They met and fell in love in New York City and got married in the same chapel Jill and I got married in New York City. Kindred spirits. He wrote us a letter about his little daughter, Ava, and I saw her just before I came over. She was just a year old when she was diagnosed with rare kidney disease,
You're right.
cancer. After 26
Tylenol.
blood transfusions, 11 rounds of radiation, 8 rounds of chemo, one
Keno.
kidney removed, given a 5% survival rate. He wrote how in the darkest moments he thought, if she goes, I can't stay.
Yeah, it sucks.
Many of you have been through that as well. Jill and I
I
understand
hate
that,
I
but
hate
so
hearing
many
when
of you.
kids are hurt.
And he read Jill's book describing our family's cancer journey and how we tried to steal moments of joy where we could with Bo.
I heard Bo was
Then
like the one that
glimmering
wasn't a
joy
fuck
was
up.
The half smile of their baby girl. It meant everything to them. They never gave up hope. Little Ava never gave up hope. She turns 4 next month.
He is.
They just found out Ava's beating the odds, is on her way to being cured of cancer. And she's watching from the White House tonight. as she
Oh, the
counts
mother's
football.
very demure.
For the lives we can save.
Yeah, I can't stand when kids are hurt. That
For the lives we can save and the lives we've lost, let this be a truly American moment that rallies the country and the world together and prove that we can still
Been
do
talking
big
for an hour.
things. 20 years ago, under the leadership of President Bush and countless advocates and champions, he undertook a bipartisan effort through PEPFAR to transform the global fight against HIV/AIDS. It's been a huge success.
Do you remember when they all
big.
hated Bush?
He thought large. He moved. I believe
He
we can do
lied
the same
about
thing with cancer.
WMDs, which he didn't. I don't like Bush, but he didn't lie about WMDs.
Let's end cancer as we know it. Cure some cancers.
Yeah, end cancer as we know it. Get rid of the Democratic Party.
Folks, there's one reason why we've been able to do all of these things. Our democracy itself.
Because you lied about it.
It's the most fundamental thing of all. With democracy, everything's possible. Without it, nothing is.
Fetterman.
The last
Oh,
few
God,
years,
I
our
apologize,
democracy
guys, for
has been
Fetterman.
put at risk. Put
I
to the
certainly
test
didn't vote for
in
him.
this very room on January the 6th. And then just a few months ago,
We think they stole it.
an unhinged big lie,
Isn't it?
Salem unleashed a political violence, the home of the then Speaker of the House of Representatives. Using the very same language the insurrectionists
We now know that Nancy Pelosi was involved in the creation and the editing of the security protocol for January 6th, the one that failed.
attack, but is as tough and as strong, as resilient as they get.
That
My
is
friend
Bono,
Paul
isn't it?
Pelosi. Paul, stand up.
Or no, is it? Oh, look at Pelosi. Stop fucking
Such
the
a heinous
boys.
act should have never happened. We must all speak out. There's no place for political violence in America. We have to protect the right to vote, not
Really,
suppress
summer
the
of love,
fundamental
Joe?
right. Honor the results of our
Your vice
elections, not
president
subvert the will of
supported the
people.
bailing out
We
of
have
the
to uphold
rioters.
the rule of law and restore trust in our institutions of democracy. We must give hate and extremism in any form.
Watch.
no
White supremacy.
safe harbor.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Watch.
Democracy
MAGA Republicans.
must not be a partisan issue. It's an American issue.
He's yelling
Every
again.
generation of Americans has faced a moment where they have been called to protect our democracy, defend it, stand up for it. And this is our moment. My fellow Americans, we meet tonight at an inflection point, one of those moments that only a few generations ever face, where the direction we now take is going to decide the course of this nation for decades to come. We're not bystanders of history. We're not powerless before the forces that confront us. It's within our power of we the people. We're facing the test of our time.
What?
We have to be the nation we've always been at our best. Optimistic, hopeful, forward-looking. A nation that embraces light over dark, hope over fear.
Dude,
unity
Bob,
over
am I
ignorance,
wrong?
stability over
Is it
chaos.
irony that he's the one saying that?
As enemies, but as fellow Americans. We're good people. The only nation in the world built on an idea. The only one.
Rough. It's been rough.
Other nations are defined by geography, ethnicity. But we're the only nation based on an idea that all of us, every one of us, is created equal in the image of God. A nation that stands as a beacon to the world. A
Not
nation
anymore.
in a new age of possibilities.
Nation in decline
I've come to
because of them.
fulfill my constitutional obligation to report in the State of the Union.
He's never
Here's
read the
my
Constitution.
report. Because the soul of this nation is strong. Because the
You're right.
the backbone of this nation is strong. Because the people of this nation are strong. The State of the Union is strong.
The State of the Union is sick. What's the inflation rate at today? Yes, it's still like what, $1.50 more than when Trump left office? Crime is through the roof.
I'm not new to this place. I stand here tonight, having served as long as about any one of you have ever served here. But I've never been more optimistic about our future, about the future of America. We just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together.
Now, Trump
God
would have
bless
said
you
that
all, and may God
calmly.
protect our troops. Thank you.
Thank you. And God fucking bless America. I mean, he's screaming most of the night. Now, Bob, the crazy part is that all the fake news people are going to say, it was the greatest speech ever. I thought of Roosevelt. I mean, think about that. Margaret Thatcher. Oh, wait a minute. No, not Margaret. They're going to tell us how fucking great he was. Oh, my God. Look at him walking. Hi, will you be my friend? Playing that back again. Oh, look at this. Hi, I'm Kamala, or Kamala, depending on the weather. McCarthy, who's making that sound? Where's it coming from? Sounds like a helicopter. Is Jimi Hendrix here?
Here's the real State of the Union. Over the past 2
I wanna
years,
hear-
under Biden, millions and millions
I wanna hear the
of
response.
illegal aliens from 160 different countries have stormed across our southern border. Drug cartels are now raking in billions of dollars from smuggling poison to kill our people and to kill our children. Savage killers, rapists, and violent criminals are being released from jail to continue their crime wave, and under Biden, the murder rate has reached the highest.
Is he actually doing the
history of our
response?
country. Biden and the radical Democrats have wasted trillions of dollars and caused the worst inflation in half a century, Real wages are down 21 months in a row. Gas prices have soared and are now going up much higher than even before. And the typical American family is paying $2,200.
Yeah, you didn't hear Biden talk about that, did you?
And food costs each year. Joe Biden's weaponized Justice Department, and I'm a victim of it,
Yep.
is persecuting his political opponents. His administration is waging war on free speech. They're trying to indoctrinate and mutilate our children. He's leading us to the brink of World War III. And on top of all of that, he's the most corrupt president in American history, and it's not even close.
Right.
But the good news is we are going to reverse every single crisis, calamity.
He will, too.
disaster
I
that
I
Joe
believe
Biden
in
has
this man.
committed. I am running for president.
He will
to end
fix
the
it all.
destruction of our country and to complete the unfinished business of making America great again.
Yep.
We will make our country better than ever before, and we will always put America first. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hello,
Awesome.
I'm Mike Lindell, and
Hey,
I'm
we got Mike
excited
Lindell
to
now.
announce my new product, My Coffee. I get products all the time.
I used to,
from
when I had a social
entrepreneurs
media
from my
site,
new
I used to give
platform,
him free ads.
MyStore.com. And when I tried My Coffee for the first time, I was blown away.
I used to write for
It
David
is
Harris
the best
Jr., and
coffee I've
he was
ever
friends
had in
with
my
him.
life. I spent the last 4 months doing my due diligence.
And so
and this family-owned
David told him,
business
yeah, he's putting free ads
micromanages
up
every step
for you.
from the fields
And
to the
apparently
cup
he said,
to
no,
ensure the
tell him to
best
call me. I'll
quality
pay him.
coffee
I
you're
never
ever
called
gonna
him.
have. It starts
They've
with
screwed
the beans
him,
that are
man.
grown in Honduras. Honduras' volcanic soil and
Did you ever read his
climate
book, Bob?
make the perfect growing
It was
conditions
hilarious.
for
It was a
coffee
great book.
plants, which
He was a real
produce the
fuck-up.
best beans ever. Then each batch
But now
is
look at him. He
tested
found
for its
God.
aroma, taste, and other aspects to meet the highest standards in the coffee industry. And after that, it goes into production, which is all done right here in the USA. It's like you're getting that small batch specialty
I know,
coffee,
man.
but delivered right to your front door. So go to MyStore.com.
They went after him the
or
minute
call
he came
number
down
on
the
your
escalator.
screen. Use the promo code and you'll get your very own My Coffee for 25% off. You guys
It's
all know that
unbelievable
I've
what
traveled
they
the
did to
country
that
for
man.
The past year and a half. I've stayed in hundreds of hotels.
I have
tried every
jackasses
coffee
that
out
still
there.
put comments
Some
on
of the
my
coffees
channel
have
that
terrible
that
aftertaste.
Trump was just
Some make me
evil.
jittery, or I get an
There's this
upset
asshole
stomach.
out there, this
Well,
kid.
My coffee is different. It's the
His
richest,
entire
smoothest,
channel.
best coffee I've ever
Yeah.
had. My coffee comes in a variety
Yeah,
of flavors.
his
You get the
entire
ground
channel
whole bean,
is based
plus
on
it's certified
Trump.
organic
Just
and
trashing
non-GMO.
Trump.
I
And the dude's got,
guarantee it'll be
like,
the best coffee you've
over
ever
100,000
had. So go to
subscribers.
mystore.com or call the
I don't even have
number on your
1,000
screen.
yet.
Use your
Although I've
promo
only
code
been
and
here
you'll
4
get My
months, so.
Coffee for 25% off. And I'm going to give you deep discounts on all my store products. That's mystore.com. It's my new platform for USA entrepreneurs. Please order now.
Yeah, you're right. Who are you?
Here's the real State of the Union. Over the past 2 years,
Is he
under Biden,
replaying this?
millions
I didn't hear
and
the beginning of
millions
it.
illegal aliens from 160 different countries have stormed across our southern border.
It's unbelievable what
Drug
Biden's
cartels
done
are
to this
now
country
raking in
in such a short
billions of
time.
dollars from smuggling poison to kill our people and to kill our children. Savage killers, rapists, and violent criminals are being released from jail to continue their crime.
I know,
wave.
without a
Under
border,
Biden,
dude,
the
you
murder
don't have a
rate has
country.
reached the highest in the history of our country. Biden and the radical Democrats have wasted trillions of dollars and caused the worst inflation in half a century. Real wages are down 21 months in a row. Gas prices have soared and are now going up much higher than even before. And the typical American family is paying $2,200 in increased energy and food costs each year. Joe Biden's weaponized Justice Department, and I'm a victim of it, is persecuting his political opponents. His administration is
All right,
waging
they're
war
just
on free
repeating stuff.
speech. They're trying to indoctrinate
Guys,
and
thank you. This is my
mutilate
first live stream.
He's leading us
I
to
hope
the
you
brink
enjoyed
of
it.
World War III.
My brother
And on
Jimmy's
top
got
of all
a
of
lot
that,
on me because that's
he's the
all he
most
does is
corrupt
live
president
stream.
in
So
American history, and it's not
I'm going to
even
call it a
close.
night.
But the good
Bob, I
news
got a
is
video
we are
coming out
going to
tomorrow about
reverse every
transgenders. I may be
crisis,
kicked off the
calamity,
fucking platform
and
for that one.
disaster that Joe
It's
Biden
about
has
there was an
I am running
insurrection
for president
at the.
to
I'm
end the
going to stop that. There was an insurrection in Oklahoma. Did you know about that? They had stormed the Capitol building there. There was no Ray Epps in that crowd, right? So they stormed the Capitol because they're going to do 3 bills. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. They're doing 3 bills, and they're on number 1, stopping the gender affirming care, the mutilations of people under 18. Which in the video I say, look, they had one that's people under 26, and I said, look, if you're 26 years old and you want to do that, more power to you. But for the kids, no, because you can't take a kid to a dentist without a parent's approval. And somebody's fucking parents are like, honest to God, I think somebody's parents are like, they're at that age where instead of like mom buying the Corvette and dad, checking like cheating on mom with a younger chick. No, when instead they go, hey, my kid's trans, I'm cool, ain't I? And they talk these kids into doing this mutilation crap. And so I'm probably going to get kicked off for that one, or I'll get a strike or something. I don't know. But that's coming out tomorrow, I think, 2:00. Yeah, so check that out if you can. But Joe Biden is a mess. Hey, Zeus, you're back. What's up, brother? You all right? Yeah. And you can't even say groomer. Think about that. Massive lawsuits. You're right, man. You're absolutely... You know what the massive lawsuits are coming out for, too? For the COVID stuff. I listened to Bongino. I'm probably going to have to delete this video now. I listened to Bongino the other day, and he did an interview with Dr. Malone, and he had a really good interview. Now, my interview with Malone was I wrote the questions, every question he answered, and he answered every one of them. I wrote the questions for the interview, and I was on the line when David did the interview, and he told us a lot of stuff, but I didn't know this, man. I didn't know that he caught long COVID because he got vaxxed. He actually got vaxxed, and he caught long COVID, and he's having serious health issues. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. My first live stream. Hopefully it was a success. If I keep doing it more, I'll probably get a lot more people in, but you guys are beautiful. Thank you. You guys have a good night, all right? Peace.